Okay, so part four is about grocery workers, grocery store workers. This is what your assignment is about. You really need to kind of listen to this. Check out the grocery store worker solutions before you do your assignment. Let's really break down grocery store workers. Why do we care about grocery store workers? They just have so many injuries. One example is just the cashiers. Report by NIOSH, National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, or OSHA, revealed that more than 50% of all food cashiers, a job predominantly held by women, suffered some degree of carpal tunnel and other forms of repetitive strain injuries as a result of the physical demands of scanning products at high speed. So they're classic, very, very static. She's standing here all day for 8 hours, scanning item after item after item, leads to all these injuries. So what comes up next here is solutions. These are evidence-based solutions, ergonomic solutions for all these different jobs within the grocery store. You can rely on this and a condensed in that solutions chart to do your grocery store assignment, and you need to know all these solutions for the final exam because you're going to get a case on just one of these professions, and we're going to hit all these different professions that you need to know. Grocery store workers, we're starting out with that. So a lot of these are common sense, some of them are not, so you really kind of need to know them. Using footrests, power conveyor belts, keeping your wrist in neutral, as we know about, that power zone, the scanning motion. Avoid the reaching, the twisting out of that power zone. Keep everything within easy reach, something to lean on, support. Anti-fatigue mats. You'll see that over and over again for people who are standing all day. Anti-fatigue mats. Use an adjustable height. Keyboard is another one. These are like these standing jobs. That's why we spend so much time looking how people stand. There's the ergonomic solutions and there's the physical solutions that you're getting in the Williamson class and to a degree in the upper extremity class. Baggers high, their low back gives out. A lot of baggers have back problems. How can we help them? Move the carts closer to avoid reaching. Use adjustable height bag stand, bags with handles. Powered togs move carts in from parking lot. Good body mechanics we all know about. Stocking. Stocking can be a big thing. They're on their knees, reaching up. A lot of times they're using cold items, stocking refrigerators. Again, static reps, cold, not a good formula for avoiding pain. Keep your cases close to the body. Thermal gloves can help a lot. They're doing, packages of frozen broccoli or whatever. Knee pads. Again, simple solutions. Rotating tasks to avoid prolonged positions. So we don't just stock from their knees all day long, go do something else and come back, that sort of stuff. Arrange shelves with heavy items within easy reach. Keep your box cutters sharp. And we talked about the tools. Keep them sharp. Make sure they're free of debris and spills. Use boxes or totes with handles where able. Work with suppliers to get lower weight boxes versus these 2-ton things you have to lift. Use the cart. This cart is ideal too because it's at the power zone. It's not too low or too high. Make sure cart wheels are well maintained. Again, the tools, are they well maintained so you're not getting stuck and pushing and straining your back. Large wheels are good. Raised bottom shelves with the carts. Ensure plenty of room for lifting. Equip stockroom with powered conveyor belts. Make things easier. Power lifts. Raising pallets up and down. Again, keeping it in that power zone, waist height. Work with suppliers to keep pallet loads within worker reach. Bakers. A lot of strain in the hands with baking. Adjustable height tables. A lot of them are stooped over these static height tables. Everybody's different height. Risers or working power zone. Make sure to have toe clearance on the work tables to avoid reaching bending. Use small containers to reduce weight. Use small decorating bags to reduce hand stress. Anti-fatigue mats, footrests, rolling carts to stand and move heavy items such as tubs of dough. Good example there. Use icing that has the correct consistency to reduce hand stress. It's a picture of it there. This can be really hard on your wrist if you're doing cakes and icing all day long. There's more beconized ones or the icing consistency. Airbrush and mechanical disperser whenever possible in decorating cakes. Talked about that. Look for counter designs that allow workers to hand items to grocers without excessive reach bending. Always think about everything in terms of the power zone and the reaching and avoiding the reaching and twisting, bending. The tools in the baker. Short-handled scoops to put icing into decorating bags. Use tools that fit hands. Ambidextrous. Why ambidextrous? One hand gets fatigued, you just switch to the other. Not slippery, grips, that sort of thing. Work from the close side when handling dough, glazing donuts, etc. Avoid excessive reach, bending. Powered mixers. Deli workers, they have a lot of static high reps as well. Keep grinders, cutters, good repair, sharp. Avoid continuous grinding, cutting. Rotate your job. Don't just do one thing all day long. Position meat scales, blah, 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 in power zones. Use food processors to prep ingredients for stuffing and other items. Reduce all the chopping and cutting with your wrists, poor wrists and hands and thumbs. Use a small tool for employees to sit while catching and traying meat from the grinder. Grind meat into a small lug and move it to the compost workforce for traying. Again, just this body mechanics kind of stuff, breaking down their job, working within a power zone. Use tongs with long handles. Think about handles. Adjustable. Adjustable is always the thing. The work surfaces versus fixed. Work from close-out trays to avoid excessive bend reach. Avoid working with hands, wrist out of neutral. Into fatigue mats again. Footrests again. We're seeing these repetitive things for all these tasks. Look for cases and counters that allow workers to serve customers without excessive reach again. Train workers in knife tools sharpening. This is a key thing. If you could give your workers the tools they need to sharpen their knives and all that, and have them do that so they can keep them sharp and reduce the strain on their hands. Hand stress, meat gardeners that do not force worker to bend over, reach too high, again, power zone stuff. Produce workers, they do a lot of high-risk stuff with loading and unloading the produce. They shovel that ice, that ice in the coolers with the fish and all that. Somebody has to do that. That can be hard on your body. Keep heavy items such as watermelons in shipping containers and use pallets to move them. Use lightweight, shoulder-handled plastic shovels. Light-handed plastic shovels, shoveling ice. Allowing a worker to move more ice in less time, body stress than a hand scoop. Again, body mechanics as they're shoveling too. Portable case to transfer ice, something on wheels. Consider using refrigeration rather than ice for food displays. Avoid the ice, basically. And then your grocery store assignment, just to talk about that briefly. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You're going to be going into a grocery store. Try not to avoid stalking people, but you're going to be doing a lot of observations. Especially the cashier when they're checking you out. Go grocery shopping. Buy some stuff. Give me how many items, the average weight, amount of time it took to be cashed out. Time it. As you're watching the cashier, how did she do on these things? Yes, no, you for unsure. Try to avoid the yous if you can. Try to really see and watch them. Maybe observe from a distance before you go out to see how they're doing with all these different categories. The bagging, the deli workers, if you can see them. Think about if you're in a wheelchair, you're disabled. You can think about you don't need to do this. You can do this if you want. It might be a little strange walking in and out of the electric cart thing there, but you can just think about reaching these things if you're from a wheelchair. Kind of give it your best educated guess, and in terms of access, impossible to reach, that sort of stuff. To me, is quite eye-opening. Even the shopping carts themselves are kind of eye-opening because they're fixed. They're not adjustable. So you have these tall people stooping and these little old ladies, all these awkward postures trying to push their carts, and then all these other items to kind of think about, shelf stocking, fruits, bakery, deli, and then this question: either track how much work walking you do in the store with a pedometer, or track how much time you took. Also, to do a full work. Also list and general challenges and skills required to go shopping successfully. Generally, for a full week's groceries for a family, to consider they are not in a wheelchair, but using their shopping cart, that they will have help with loading the groceries in the car, but not their house. And all these different categories, trying to break it down. Grocery shopping, there's just so much stuff that goes on with grocery shopping. It's really amazing in terms of balance and reach and cognition. Someday I want to write a book just about grocery shopping. Keep your answers brief. Ask me if you have questions about that. Try not to be too much into it. And then list the risk factors in your solutions. This way you can use your solutions, grocery store solutions box, or the PowerPoint stuff we just reviewed. List the factor, what you saw as a risk factor, and just a simple solution for all those, all of your risk factors. Again, that's due on the 14th, I believe. Again, ask